Local cosplayer for 18 and a half years. I've been a guest here at 2DCon for the last 4 years, I believe. We're going to talk about a lot of cosplay related stuff. Here with me are, let's just go down the line and everybody introduce themselves. Tell people who you are, how long you've been cosplaying, your favorite thing about cosplay, and your favorite memory in cosplay, if you're a cosplayer.
You have to write all that down. So for me, I'm not going to answer any of that because I am not a cosplayer. So, as in I don't make or wear costumes. I am in the industry, so I'm basically a spokesperson for the industry. I basically write for pretty much any cosplay magazine in print, and I am the cosplay advisor for the Vero True Social social network app.
And what's your name?
My name, sure, it's Alan Schulte.
Are you guys on Vero? Vero, the social media app? I'm gonna pitch it for you.
Yeah, pitch it.
I'm pitching it, Vero. It's pretty good.
I think I have one. I think I have one.
Nice. Everyone make one.
If you're not on it, you should get on it for sure.
That's the one for people who got kicked off of being QAnon supporters, right?
Yeah.
And moving on.
Anyways, hi. I'm Kiki Craft. I have some little trading cards if anyone wants any.
See what you did there.
I don't know how long I've been cosplaying because I came from a very small town where we just liked dressing up and we didn't know like this was a thing. We're like making plays and just like wanting to be Dragon Ball Z characters and run around, and then we learned about the cities, the twin cities that had amazing conventions where it was Halloween like all the time. So I think I went to Anime Detour was probably my first one. Yeah, I think it was Anime Detour. And I fell in love with everybody. Everyone's so great. I've met so many good friends. And my best memory of cosplay, was that one of the questions?
Yep,
so many questions.
Go for that one.
Was probably when I went to WonderCon in California. I was dressed as Bombshell, Black Canary, and the person who made that statue, not Ant, it was like the person who actually like sculpted the statue came up to me and was like almost in tears, like, I love this, it's my favorite statue I ever made. And it was so cool just to like, I don't know, appreciate all of his work, you know? Like, we're fans of like an artist, like a little artist who made this, like, it's so cool. I love it. Is that it? Was that all your questions?
I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
That's good.
Moving on.
I already told you who I am, how long I've been cosplaying, but I will tell you what my favorite memory in cosplay is. I was at Convergence probably 10 years ago, dressed as Pyramid Head, and I was holding the door open for some people to go through behind me, and they said, "Oh, you're so much nicer in person." So, anyways, go on.
Hi, I'm Harry from Mixer Cosplay. We're a sister duo, so we're very cute. We've been cosplaying probably for about 5 years now, I think. And favorite memory, I don't know. I guess I don't have any specific ones, but I think it's just the cosplay community in general. And when we started cosplaying, like, all of my best friends now I've met at cons. So like, I guess I don't, like, there's so many great memories in cosplay, but honestly I like cherish the friendships that it's brought, because this guy right here, so, yeah. Oh, it's falling over from it.
Hi everyone. I'm John. PG's Prince on socials. I think I've been cosplaying since like 2018. I like worked for this lady at McDonald's, and she was like, "Yo, like, I'm gonna give you the weekend off and like come to this con." And I was like, "Okay." Went there with my partner who cheated on me, and so I was like, maybe I need to try the whole con thing again. So then I tried another con afterwards, and it was like a really good time. Got way into it. Been cosplaying ever since. Huge hobby of mine now. As far as the greatest memory, I don't really know if I also have one. I think it's funny, like, we drove to what's that con in Ohio? Colossal Con. It was like, how long of a drive was it? Like 14 hours? And we like got in the elevator and we were like crusted and busted, like hair parted down the middle. Like we had all been in the car and we like got into the elevator and this guy was like, "You're Peaches Prince on Instagram." I was like, how did you write it? Things like that are always funny to me.
Hi, I'm KP, the other half of Mixer Cosplay. I actually don't know what my favorite memory or whatever is either. Probably just the same as Harry, just met so many great people and it's an amazing community and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Great. All right. Now that you know who we are, one of the topics I wanted to discuss today was our spaces where we make things. Whether or not you're more of a cosplay crafter, like I know Kiki and I are, or more of a social media type influencer cosplayer where you create content. I'd like for us to just go around and kind of say what makes your space unique, what your most, I guess, the thing you couldn't do without in your makerspace. Your whether it be backdrops or different apps or whatever you use to make your content. And we can start on whatever side. We'll start on that side.
On that side.
Yeah, we'll start on that
I
side.
have a weird space.
Yeah. I've got a very weird space, so I'm ready to go off about it.
Three of us
But
live
we need a
together,
couple
so.
more drinks.
Oh, well, that's even better. You can both talk, or all three talk about it.
I guess okay. So I guess like our space is, so we do more, like the two of us, we're more of like TikTokers, I guess. So like
10K.
10K.
Sorry, 90K. Big difference.
Anyway, so we wanted to create a space that, we're comfortable in, but also kind of meets the aesthetic that we're trying to present to people. So like, I guess, because we started like really just promoting ourselves on Instagram, and then we kind of, when TikTok kind of got big, we're like, maybe we need to use this app, it's kind of fun and cool. And so, obviously like a good ring light was like necessary because we wanted to, make sure the lighting's good. So we have a room that we use, but we tend to use this random corner in the hallway and like by the living room because the lighting's way better for whatever reason. I don't know. So
Like right in front of our door.
it's literally right in front of our front door. We just use this random space. But the good ring light was super important to us, and and just investing in the aesthetic we wanted. So we got like a pink couch for the room just because like we wanted to present like more of the kawaii feel, I guess. So like we just want to make sure our space spoke to like what our brand is and what we want to put out to the world. So like our ring light has like cat ears on it, and we got like lights for the wall, and we like put, what was it, like cherry blossom flowers like going down. So like we really wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing and also just something that represents what we want our brand to be. So that's the space we use. As far as like apps, TikTok, if you use TikTok, you know how great TikTok is for growing a platform right now. So, we really invested our time in that. And honestly, I think it's the best way to grow as a cosplayer right now is TikTok. So we really invested our time in that. As far as editing apps, KP can speak to that a little bit more than me, but.
For photo editing, we tend to use Lightroom and Photoshop.
Yeah. So, those are like it. So, yeah, that's what we use, but.
For me, I'm way more casual cosplayer than my two darling roommates. I'm kind of like a one trick. Like there are still people today that I was like, hey, and I hung out with them all last night, and they were like, and I was like, I was Peach, and they're like, oh. So that's like, I guess if I had to pick one thing I couldn't do without, it'd be my Peach dress. I'm way casual about it. So that's it. I guess they have their own. Whoops, sorry.
Sorry. I double mic, twice the power.
The elder millennials
Yep.
have this mic.
Yeah.
You guys.
All right. So I just bought a home in April, so I have, for the first time in my life, an actual dedicated studio, which is great. I've been making cosplay on my lap in front of a computer for the last 18 years, and you know, maybe a card table if I have it, but and more on brand with what the description of this panel was. I'm so once I got introduced to 3D printing about 4 years ago, I'm on my second printer now. I have a gigantic print volume. That has changed the game in so many ways for so many professional cosplayers, because it allows you to, you know, it allows you to recreate such detail without such. It's like, it's not like there's not time and care put into it still, because 3D printing is an art, no matter what anybody says. Anybody who says that it's like cheating, it has not made something with a 3D printer of any, you know, true artistry in it. Right now, that is definitely my go-to number one tool. Is I have a Creality CR10 S5, which can print a 20-inch by 20-inch by 20-inch build volume, so I could print out a whole helmet or a breastplate or something along those lines. I used it to print all of the components for the alloy bow, the Horizon Zero Dawn bow in the charity auction, and I was, because of my large print or bed size, I'm able to print these large components, and then there's not finishing between, say, bonding different parts of a 3D print together. If I can print it all in one piece, then it is almost off the printer finished. But just in general, with the makerspace, just having surface area to keep things clean and having an area to paint is super important for me. I'm more of a prop and armor fabricator than anything. I am not a content creator by any means. I have costumes that have been going viral for 12 years, but I don't market myself. I only have 600 Instagram followers. But yeah, now with the 3D printing, it has completely changed, I guess, my world of fabrication, because it allows you to, you know, get something started, come back the next day, and then have such a reliable base with such higher detail than something that you would have to carve or create in a conventional manner. And I'm not saying that's like the only way to go, because there's certainly things that it's cost prohibitive, or it's just more efficient to, say, make non-detailed armor pieces and stuff out of foam still, or other cosplay materials. But that's my new toy anyways.
You don't even need a microphone. You're so loud anyway.
Yep.
Is this even on? Oh, it is on. All right, so I feel like a lot of people know the struggle when you first start cosplay, and you're just in a little apartment, or maybe your house is just full of stuff, and you're just like lying stuff on your apartment floor, hoping you won't ruin the carpet with your paint and get hot glue all over stuff, and you're not gonna get your deposit back. I have been there. I've lived that life. And I saved up and I got a house, and my entire basement, called dibs on it for my my studio. My craft room, those of you who've walked in my house, you know, that is for crafts. It's messy, and it's going to be messy forever. Like, you see some TikToks that their craft room looks like gorgeous. You know they cleaned that like for days before that video, because a true crafter, it does not look like that. I have bins that are like cardboard, like the toilet paper tubes. I save them. I save everything. I loved your panel, because like I should have been here earlier, because that's what I do. If I see something, I know I can recycle it, it goes in a bin, and I try to label all my bins, but you know, it is chaos. Lots of unfinished projects. I feel like a lot of cosplayers have that as well. So like half of my basement is just bins that are like, one day I'll finish this, maybe.
That's my garage.
Your whole garage is
My whole
one day?
garage is bins of, I halfway made Vi costume. Oh, I halfway made a Legends of Dragoon costume. Oh.
One day.
One day.
Yeah, or like, I mean, the pandemic hit, so we all had plans. Like, we had San Diego Comic-Con tickets, and then that got canceled like 2 times in a row. So those cosplays get put on hold, and they get put in bins, and like, hopefully we get to dust them off later. Anyways, I am rambling. What was your question? It was
I was just saying, talk about your workspace and what you think your most important thing is there.
So one thing I think is the most important, which I do not have, is proper ventilation. I cannot stress that enough. Like, there's probably so many like paint particles in my brain right now. I don't even know. That's one thing. I don't know if you've done this yet, but make some sort of like a ventilation thing like through your window, or like take a box fan and put like a filter on the back of it, and just have some way to or just spray paint outside. I don't know, but spraying is definitely like a process of cosplay. Like, you need to spray paint.
If you have a laser cutter like I do too, I haven't been utilizing it or playing with it enough because I will fumigate myself in my basement with all the outgassing from the laser burning foam and stuff. So that's one of the things. That's a winter project to build some sort of ventilation system around my laser cutter so that I can actually use it more, because that is also a game changer now, to be able to cut foam accurately and rapidly into high complex patterns that, you know, not something that's fun to do with by hand.
Or in a tiny little apartment.
Yep.
So yeah, the most important thing I'm saying is ventilation, which I don't have. A project for another day.
So I guess my space is a little different since I don't craft or make anything, but it sort of depends on the job I'm doing within cosplay. So if I'm doing work for a magazine, my job a lot of times comes down to directing an environment. So if we're going to be doing a photo shoot at a convention, I need to scout locations. You know, a lot of times I'll work with a photographer on that. Sometimes I'll do it on my own if they're busy doing floor coverage or stuff like that. If I'm working as like an agent for celebrity cosplayers, the important part for that is for me to make sure that the convention that we're going to be working with is a comfortable and suitable environment for anyone that I'm going to bring into that show. Because, you know, there's some shows that they treat the cosplay portion as like an afterthought. So if I'm working with a show like that, it's my job to steer it into a more cosplay positive, you know, atmosphere. Because anybody that I'm bringing in, if they're going to be a guest for the show, I want them to be treated properly. You know, so really my job is making sure that the cosplay itself for the cosplayer are taken care of and shown properly for the work that they've done.
And that they use their Vero.
And that. They have plenty of violations.
Oh, great. You know, and everybody, we have a very diverse group up here for what we do in the world of cosplay, and you know, I'm more of a hall cosplayer. I don't even go out and shoot most of my costumes. I just wear them around conventions and enjoy that, because to me, my most enjoyable part is the journey of creating it. You know, sometimes I'll bring a costume to a con, I'll wear it there, and then I will never wear it again. Which is heartbreaking sometimes. So I guess one thing I thought we could talk about too is about kind of our inspiration for what hooks you about a character. Is it like do you have to look like them? Do you find a character that you jive with their personality in a show? What inspires you that, you know, you see something and you know you've got to cosplay that next? So we can start over here.
So,
you can take it from a different angle.
Yeah, so like for me, what I like to see with...
I feel like you don't hear this either.
I don't. For me, what I like to see is when somebody's having fun. You know, it isn't always about the costume being the best. You know, when we were putting stuff in the magazine, I was putting in people that were having fun. You know, if they showed up and it was something store-bought, but man, you could see the smile on their face, I'm putting that in the magazine. You know, so for me, I guess that's the most important part, I think, for the hobby, period, anyway, is to have fun.
Honestly, 100% correct. I feel like that's something that's kind of lost nowadays. It's not about gaining fame. It's about having fun. This is a hobby, and that is gorgeous. Are you kidding me? Wow. It's flaming hot. All right. What a perfect time to come in. You look so good. Okay. Perfect time to come in here.
Maybe like a 180.
Let's just talk about this first.
Okay, Mama. Where were you at the cosplay contest earlier? You should have entered that. This is exactly what we were talking
Maybe
about.
that's his favorite panel,
Of course, Carl's
Kill some time.
Oh my god.
Yes, please. Oh, the jalapeno ones. Yes.
You are a trender.
Now, hold on. Did you eat all those Cheetos?
Yes, I did.
I made a cosplay very similar to that, but I used PBR cans to make a pyramid head costume. And I must have drank like 90 PBRs the week before Halloween.
Damn!
You
Well,
sacrificed.
the sword, the giant sword was all Northeast cans, and then I had a PBR towel as his like drape thing. But
How do you spill out the liver?
yeah, I've been wondering that for a decade.
I'm so curious. Can you enlighten? Oh yeah, so I'm just gonna piggyback off what you said. It is definitely about having fun. Forgot the question. Why do we pick a character?
Yeah, what
Okay.
inspires you to your next project?
I'm not gonna lie, I love when I kind of look like the character. For instance, the reason I'm Yennefer is because that Jedi right there was playing Witcher and sent me a screenshot of Yennefer and it was like, this you? So I was like, I'll do Yennefer one day. I'll totally do that. And then the show came out, so a little more hype, and I'm like, okay. I mean, everyone wants to be recognized, so there's a little bit of that. It's if you've ever done a cosplay that's so obscure, you kind of get a little heartbroken when people don't know who you are. So
But then
there's
when the
a
one
little-
person does know, it makes it that much better.
that is very true. But it's like for me, I love that.
I
love
live for that
looking at
one
my
person.
kids.
I've gone to old cons where it's like,
Everyone's gonna know who that is.
but when you're a character from an obscure anime and one person at a whole con is just like, yeah, that's a good feeling.
Like that cake from Portal, or the Portal cake. Show me the cake. Where's the cake? Did she leave? Show me the cake.
Buzz Lightyear toys for 5 or 6 years now. And Buzz Lightyear's not even my favorite Toy Story character.
If you Googled Mrs. Nesbitt cosplay, you would probably be the first.
I'm on the 3rd page if you just look up Mrs. Nesbitt. Yeah.
Oh, Tyler knows.
Oh yeah, no, that's honestly what I do instead of getting followers on social media is I keep an active list of what you can Google to find me, pictures of me. And that feels good in its own way. Anyways.
Okay. So for me, I don't think it's so much to do with a character that looks like me. I think it's more aesthetic and their personality. So like, if I kind of vibe with their personality, then I'm probably gonna cosplay them. But also I feel like I really do full cosplays. Like I always tend to like, my favorite kind of cosplays are like the swim cosplays or like the kind you can kind of make like if I'm gonna do Hinata from Naruto, I'm gonna make her like a rave queen or something like that, I don't know. But like I always like to do things like that where I can kind of take their like personality and aesthetic and kind of make it into something else. So if I can like really vibe with that and their like color palette and everything like that, chances are I'm probably gonna cosplay them. So I feel like that's what kind of draws me to characters.
What draws me to a character? I have to be like really interested in it, like the game or the I don't really, not really a big anime guy. I play a lot of video games, so that kind of limits my things. I'm not, or they're like, hey, we're doing this group. Can you be this person? And I'm like, okay. So that's a lot of the times what happens for cosplay groups. This one was me though.
Yeah,
it's
this one
like,
was
hey,
you.
this was me to them, but usually it's them to me. So, which is fun too, because it like lets me do different things. But yeah, I think kind of the same thing, like aesthetics for characters, and yeah, I just kind of have to like be into it, because there's not that there's anything wrong with cosplaying something you don't know about, but I'm just like mortified of someone coming up to me and being like, oh my god, what did you think about Naruto season 3? And I'm like, crazy. So much to each other.
So on that note, I at the first anime detour, I had seen one episode of Naruto in my life, but my sister was obsessed with it and had me cosplay as Sasuke with the full scarring on the side of his body. And she had given me a plush that had all that scarring on it, and I put it on in the mirror, so I had it all on the wrong side, like that Mean Girls scene.
Oh.
So I got to enjoy that experience, being completely covered in eyeliner pencil all over one side of my body. But anyways.
And wrong.
And wrong, yeah. Yep.
So I don't want to be that.
Yeah, that was tough, yeah.
That's all I got.
What draws me to characters is probably like personality. I feel like if I can like vibe with them, then like I can like embody the character enough for like when I'm at cons or like doing TikToks or for photo shoots. Just, yeah.
Cool. The other thing another thing I wanted to talk about today was cosplay has changed so much in the last decade and before that. Like a lot of people like me, we had to develop our own ways of working with materials that are now so accessible to other people through online media outlets like YouTube tutorials. You can go buy so many different shapes of, say, foam. Yayahan has a whole line at Joann's of foam shapes and textures. So it's opened up a world of possibilities to younger cosplayers that can have so much more to work with. Not only that, also if you don't craft your own costumes, there's so many outlets to find people who can create for you, or there are so many mass-produced costumes that are actually of good quality out there, you know. And if you're enjoying yourself wearing a costume and creating content, there's nothing wrong with, you know, there's a lot of gatekeeping between people who make their own costumes versus people who buy online and just enjoy it. And there's no wrong way to cosplay, except darkening your skin. But that's anyways. But what I wanted to know is what you think. I guess how that's affected your cosplay, where you think the best places are to source stuff if you're buying cosplay, and then also how access to these resources has changed your making in the last 5 years, and what you think is coming next, So we can go on this side, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people that I work with, like even the celebrity cosplayers and whatnot, a lot of them get away from making their own costumes, because once you get into the business end of it, it's a hectic business. Like, you see the people that are famous and stuff like that, and they do the conventions and all that. and it's a lot of work. Like it really is a lot of work, having to keep your social up to date, all the traveling, all that stuff. Like it's a ton of work. So they do outsource a lot of those costumes. But the way that I see it is somebody made that. You know, if they bought it from an Etsy store or something like that, somebody made it, and it's keeping that person in business. So I love it, to be honest with you, because it gives so many people that wouldn't otherwise have a reach, it gives them a reach to do that. Because some people enjoy the building, but not everybody enjoys wearing the costume. Not everybody enjoys being the center of attention. You know, especially in this community, a lot of us have social anxieties and stuff. So the fact that those people can stay in their well-ventilated rooms and create things that will go into magazines or be seen on TikTok or whatever, like, I love it. I think it's great.
Remember when we couldn't buy wigs, so we had to just dye our hair?
Or you could only get them on eBay.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh. So I hate to say this, but Amazon has really changed the game for cosplay, because you're a week out from the con and you don't have time to go find this red thing, whatever. It's something very specific, let's say. You can just Amazon today, you'll have it in time. I hate that I'm plugging them. Bezos doesn't need our money. So if you can plan ahead and, you make it yourself, I love that. But also I have to plug the other side of purchasing, because I actually create and sell cosplay props. So there's a few people here wearing some of my stuff. We got some ears here I made, got a necklace here I made. That hammer, I made that. Like I love making stuff. I have a booth down in the market, come check it out. There's still some stuff left, a lot of it sold, but I love making like props especially. I used to make cosplays for people, but it's actually kind of difficult because you need their like proper measurements and it's tough when they're not there. But I mean, it's too much work and I have like a lot of stuff going on plus a full-time job, so I stick to just props because it's like one size fits all. The sword is going to be working for all people. And the hammer. So what was the question? How has it changed?
Remember.
It's how it's changed. So, like for instance, the wig thing. Now you can just go on Amazon and you can find the exact wig for that character. You don't have to go to a beauty supply store and hope that they have some hair that will fit with your character, and then you have to learn how to cut it. Like you can just go on Amazon and type, Sasuke wig or whatever, and find it. It's really nice. And the fact that Warbla, if you know what Warbla is a thermoplastic that you heat it up and you can shape it over foam. You used to have to import that from Germany. So we had to like get together with our friends and pool our money together and like, who's gonna do the order this time? And like everyone, me and Coral, we used to pitch in and like have everyone, hey, we're doing an order, import it from Germany, like we all split the cost. Now you can go to Joann Fabrics and you can buy it, it's on the shelf. You can just go buy it. It's crazy. And people like Yaya Han really helped that, I think. Helped like bring cosplay into more mainstream. So it's like easier for us to do what we want to do and get the stuff we want to get. And I think that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that reminded me what the question was.
Yeah.
Good.
Excellent job.
Yeah. It also, hate to plug Amazon, but Amazon has saved so many of my cosplays. Like,
So frustrating. I was just like, I couldn't find them anywhere. So I was like, Bezos, take my money.
Yep. But I mean, even Etsy as a conglomerate area to find people who are making custom stuff for anything. Like, and I commission a lot of props, and there's a lot of times where because I'm not a professional cosplayer in the sense where I am drawing my like surviving income off of it. I'm an engineer by trade, but cosplay as a side hustle, it means I get the privilege to pick and choose the projects I want to work on. But a lot of times when somebody will come to me and they'll say, oh, I want a clow staff from Card Captain Secura or something, and I just tell them, straight up, you're gonna find a you know, maybe not a better prop, but you're gonna find something way more reasonably priced than if I make a one-off of something on eBay, you know? Like, there's a lot of those common things that, and cosplay has become so mainstream now that unless it is a very, you know, obscure character, you can almost always find a costume from somebody's Etsy shop that they will tailor to your measurements. And there are, you know, horror stories out there of people getting scammed and stuff, or, you know, just poor customer service skills with some creators. But I mean, still, just the opportunity to have access to that is so great now compared to what it was, say, 10 years ago. And it's only getting better because cosplay is certainly not going anywhere at this point. Nerds have proven that with the internet we're in charge. So, but like I was saying, being able to order so many components, fabric, feathers, beads, electronics, lighting, and getting it in 2 days delivered to your door is just the biggest hack on the planet. And it is a huge game changer. The thing I guess my favorite thing that's happened in the last 5-10 years in cosplay is the fact that you can go on YouTube and find an explanation video on how to do anything, whether it's pattern making to designing addressable and programming addressable LEDs. We have some really influential cosplayers that I grew up working with, like Kamui Cosplay based out of Germany, who is just phenomenal and has put so much time into creating so many books on cosplay design and prop making because they've got the chops. They've been doing it for, you know, they've been doing it as a full-time gig for the last 15 years, and you know, it's now they are the master of EVA foam. Like, nobody can top their builds. And they're fast too, and it's, you know, it's just incredible to see how far things have come since sharing JPEG guides on how to make armor on 4chan, you know? So
how about the fact that companies now, like video game companies, like Gearbox, they know people want to cosplay their characters, so they'll just give you PDFs of reference photos, and we made that possible by like blowing up the cosplay scene. Now you can just like, hey, we want some reference.
Yep.
There you go.
Well, and they'll hire professional cosplayers and prop makers. A lot of game companies will hire prop makers to make their costumes for, even if it's just a display piece for marketing, you know.
Get a sneak peek at the cosplay.
And that's, yeah, it's great.
Okay, well, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we've already touched on, but one of the things that I guess I love, and even in like the 5 years that we've been cosplaying, we've seen such a big difference. Like, I can't tell you how many times like KP and I just sat in the living room with Kamui Cosplay or Kompatsu Cosplay, like, and their videos just playing, and we're just watching how to make this random foam piece for no reason in particular, just to know about it, I guess. So we've been doing that a lot, but one of the things that I think that I love is, so because I am so big on, like, I'm always on social media, so like whenever I have to commission something, I go to Etsy sometimes, but I normally like to go through and just see like what cosplayers I follow, or like people on Twitter or Instagram that have open commissions. But I love like commissioning wigs and commissioning outfits. So I like to like utilize people that want to just make extra money just to make a wig or something like that. So I'll always look on like Twitter or Instagram first. So I love that. And then the fact that you spoke about Etsy and like the dresses and stuff like that. Like, this one is from Etsy, this dress I have, and I just bought it, gave them my measurements, and it came, and it's nice. So I think that's super awesome that now you can just literally, you either like go to like the costumes, Amazon, commission it, and it's just so accessible, because yeah, when we first started cosplaying, I mean, I think we started with Crokinole Basket, and we just like Googled, and we had to like buy from some random place in like far, far away, and like even when we first went to Katsucon, I was gonna be Mountain Lady from Boku no Hero, and now it makes me so mad, because I'm like, we went through a lot to get that Mountain Lady bodysuit, because I just bought it, and it took forever to get in. We had to pay extra money, it was awful. And now you can just go on Amazon Prime and buy it. And it's just like, wow, that's crazy. So it just, yeah, it's changed a lot, even just in 5 years, so yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool to like have it be more accessible, right? It's not as like frowned upon. I don't know. There's like a weird taboo with it, like, you want to do furry costume? You know, like it's not like a weird taboo with that I've always heard, at least from my mom. I don't know, maybe she's crazy. Another thing too, you know, I don't really have anything else to touch on besides them, is the amount of like stuff there is on like makeup is psycho. Like, especially for like, admittedly, like my makeup artist is sitting over there, Miss Emily. Ugh, she's wondrous. But like, just because there's so many like different looks for aesthetics, and you know, for me who you know, likes to cosplay as a princess, you know, to like have those resources to like, if I wanted to like soften my features and, you know, cut my jawline and like make my lips look bigger, you know, things like that. Makeup can be a really impactful part of cosplay, and I also think that's really cool to like have all of that just kind of like at your fingertip, whether it's like TikTok or YouTube or something. That's helpful too. That's all I got.
I guess I don't really have much else to touch on. Everybody kind of talked about everything, but I think the nice thing about the accessibility nowadays is people who don't have like the skill level to like craft and like create things. Like, it's nice that like you can go on Amazon or My Costumes or Etsy and like still be able to cosplay the person that you want to cosplay the way you want to cosplay them. So I think it's just opened up a great door for people who don't have that skill level. And
because like I've been cosplaying for like 4 years, I've never made it like to like commission everything, and or I like buy like a piece of something that I can like yo, Carrie, can you like put this on it? She's like, yeah. Like, I don't know, it's just like, and we're like, you know, still like got like a decent social media following, and I don't know, it's just like super cool to like have it be accessible for everybody. You know, there's no gatekeeping, that kind of stuff. So.
And that's, you know, and it's been touched on. I love creating stuff. It doesn't have to be something I'm going to be using. I make several large scale props a year that are used for other costumes. I appreciate when they give me credit for helping, you know, in their photos, but it's not, you know, something I'm gonna cause a fuss over either. And that's just it. Having people on different ends of the cosplay supply chain, as long as they're enjoying their part of it, is what's really important. Because if people don't want to have the spotlight, don't want to be taking photos, don't care about their reach on social media, but want to be artsy and craftsy and make a couple bucks, like, that's a great way to have it. And also having networks now, Facebook groups, Discords, what have you, that are tips and advice for crafting, resources where people can trade.
Oh, the wig swap.
Wig swap, yeah, exactly. Yep. So like, that's so huge now. That's something we didn't have before. It's just all of these different pieces are making, you know, such a healthier and more sustainable cosplay community. I guess with that, that's pretty much all the topics I had prepared to talk about. We could open up for questions for the last, say, 10 minutes.
One little thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
As an artist who spent a lot of time making stuff, I do appreciate being tagged. You don't have to always do it, but I think it's nice to do. I mean, I feel like you guys, even when you're just like wearing a mask that I made, you tag me, and it makes me feel good. So yeah, don't forget your artists. You don't have to make costumes or like Amazon, like you know, obviously, but like if it's an artist, like especially if it's a friend, shirt by Amazon.
Yeah,
Thanks, Bezos.
I take my Amazon Prime delivery driver.
Space Jerry.
Yeah.
But yeah, unless any of you have anything else, we can open it up to questions. Go ahead.
My question is for you, just oddly enough.
Yeah.
You mentioned 3D printing and that you've gone through 2 different printers?
So yeah, it's
2?
yep.
Okay. I was wondering how much did each of those cost?
The Robo R1 Plus, about 4.5 or 5 years ago, which is it's a very stable, easy to use beginner printer. It has an automatic bed leveler already installed in it. That was one of the selling points for me, and for the price point of about $350, it had the largest build volume at the time that you could get at that price point. Like similar machines with that type of build volume were closer to $800. Fast forward 2 years, and the open source Creality machines have just blown, in my opinion, everything out of the water. I have a CR10S5, which is a massive printer now, and that one I got it on sale for $650, and then I've put probably about $400 worth of upgrades into it. So, and that's one thing. All of these open source printers, you can print with them, but you're gonna wanna get some pretty serious upgrades. I can't recommend direct drive extrusion enough to stop having printer head clogs. I can't recommend an automatic bed leveling system enough, because having to manually level a bed in between prints is obnoxious, and as soon as you get one set up, you know, it's going to take you a couple hours to figure out how to set it up, but that time, it pays for itself instantly, just in loss of frustration and time saved per print.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
There's also people out there that will print your stuff for you.
Yep.
So if you're not sure yet, but you need something printed, head down to my booth. And my roommate Joey, we have a raised 3D. It's like take up half the living room. It's giant. It has like a camera on it, so he can like check it like a little baby monitor to see if it's okay. He loves 3D printing, so talk to him. Get some business. Any other questions?
What's some question more like an recommendation for you guys mentioned ventilation. There is such things called ventilation boxes.
Yes.
Ventilation boxes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
They are. You can either build them out of plexiglass and wood or something like that. There's plenty of tutorials on YouTube, but they are so handy. I use them for my Dremel all the time.
Yep. That's what that's one of my winter projects is I have my laser cutter. I'm going to build an enclosure for it, and then I have I'm just gonna punch a hole in my wall and have it vent right outside of the basement. So that's the perks of owning your own home. Is you can put a hole in the wall and nobody can yell at you for it. Anyways, yep, go ahead.
You suggested a 3D printer brand. What was that?
Okay, for a starter printer.
Yeah.
Creality, probably an Ender 3 is probably your best bet for a starter printer. I have loads of friends that have one of those, and they're gonna do what you want. The build volume is not massive, but it's definitely a good place to start. And once you go there, you can get it. One thing about 3D printing is unless you're a good tinkerer, it's a hard hobby to get into because you're going to be troubleshooting your printer a lot. But again, the resources are all online. If you get a problem, 99% of the time somebody else will have already had that problem and somebody would have figured it out and made a YouTube video about it already.
Also, if you plan to do like very tiny, small, detailed, intricate things, like let's say you want to get into making earrings or rings or something, you're gonna want a resin printer. So like for instance, this thing around my neck, it's so tiny, like highly detailed. This is a resin printer, and you can get on Amazon for like, I think the one that I first bought was like $500, and now it's down to like $100.
They're
you can
getting
get them
very
so
reasonably
cheap.
priced. Yeah.
They are
Yep.
smelly. They smell like a nail salon. You have to figure out how to like cure it with UV lights. There's tutorials everywhere, but yeah, if you want to make like tiny little highly detailed stuff, you'd want a resin printer. If you want bigger props and stuff, you'd get a 3D printer.
FDM. Yep.
Yes.
This is for everyone on the panel. What is your favorite cosplay that you have made or seen?
Ooh.
Wow. Got a long catalog to go through. Boy, that's tough. I do remember once at Reed Pop's World Competition, there was a operating Hulkbuster,
Wow.
and it was like 14 feet tall, and you could hear the gears moving as it's walking across the stage. It was mind blowing when I saw it. That was that's the first one that comes to mind that I can think of.
I follow someone, and I'm gonna butcher her name, Ginoza. You know who I'm talking
Ginoza.
about. That. Anything she does is absolutely amazing. Look her up on Instagram. She does like a lot of Blizzard type of stuff, like World of Warcraft type of stuff. But the painting, like she'll start out with this like garbage looking foam thing, and you're like, what is this? And then she paints it, and it looks right out of the video game. You'd swear she just took a screenshot, and like it's amazing.
I would put her in probably the top 3 painters in the world.
Yes, so humble
For
too.
cosplay,
Like
yeah.
if you go to C2E2, she's usually there in Chicago. Yeah, anything she does, love it.
What was the name again?
Ginoza. So it's Ginoza, I believe.
That's it. Yeah, you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really tough. I like different cosplays for different reasons. One cosplayer that I have always admired for a long time is Vulpin, Vulpin Props, and he, because he's taught me, or he always goes off about how. And it's a great rule for making something, which is to fix it in pre-production, especially if you're going to make multiple things. Because anytime you can fix it before you make a mold of it, then you don't have to fix it in every single time you cast something. And he's made just astonishingly pristine costumes. Like he made one of the early reproductions of the Daft Punk helmets and stuff, but he didn't like half-ass it like so many cosplayers do. He made it perfect and chromed it all out and like electroplated it, and so some of his stuff is some of the stuff I admire the most in the cosplay world.
Lately I've been like obsessed with cosplayers that make wings. So like I don't know if you guys are familiar with the character Hawk from Boku no Hero, but I saw on Instagram this amazing gender bend cosplay of Hawks, and the wings were magical, and I still think about them to this day. And Angelamon from Digimon, anybody that cosplays her is amazing in my mind. Like the wings, I'm just obsessed with wings and cosplay, so like, I don't know, I think that's cool.
I don't really know if I have a moment like that. Every time I go to ASIN though, there's always like people who are pretty eye-catching. Like, I remember the last time I went, there was somebody in like a full like Destiny 2 armor, which I thought was really eye-catching. Anyone that does anything Monster Hunter is usually pretty sick. As a big Monster Hunter fan, like I really appreciate the detail that goes into those intricate outfits. I know that's kind of a bland statement, but yeah.
I can't think of an example of somebody else at the moment, but I think my favorite thing I've ever made was, I did a Winged Victory Mercy, and it doesn't look good, but
She's lying, it did.
it was like the first time I like hand painted like things, and it was just like so much went into the cosplay that to this day, like I still like every time I see pictures of it, I'm just so proud of like the craftsmanship that went into it.
I've never had to hold someone's things more for pictures in my whole life. Psycho. I love that for you.
Yeah, we might have time for one more question, or else we're gonna wrap it up. I think I saw you move first, so.
I was curious about like colored contact lenses. If you have any sources for those, I was like specifically like, can you get prescription colored contact lenses? Or?
There are sources online. I can't recommend any because the only time I've ever gotten them, they were terrible. So.
I've used Honeycolor or TTDI. Does that sound right? But I hate contacts, and I mean my eyes are supposed to be like purple right now for this costume. No one cares unless you're doing like something for a photo shoot, like a magazine or something. Just fix it in post. Because it's very dangerous. Contacts are very dangerous.
We'll get you two first, unless you guys have anything to say about
I was
contacts.
gonna say
Yep.
honey color. I use Unique Silk.
Unique Silk.
Yeah. I have those in right now, and they're pretty comfortable, and you can get prescription, and they work great. So those are the ones I recommend.
All right, last question.
I was gonna ask, what's the most fun thing that you've made with your 3D printer, not cosplay related?
Oh, God. Yeah, you can. God, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of what I printed that isn't cosplay. I mostly 3D print cosplay stuff. I made a lamp for my wife for her birthday. That's all the stones from the Fifth Element, and like, so then I modeled it and kind of crafted it. And there's actually, I started making several more of those to sell. And there's one in the charity auction right now that I donated it 2 years ago to the charity auction. I think whoever won it donated it to the charity auction this year. So, or it could have been one of the ones I sold to somebody. But anyways, hey, thank you all for being here. We're